Let's think about how we would tackle drawing this shape that we have here in today's assignment. Studying this thing, you might begin to notice that it's all about center lines. In both the top view and the front view, you will have center lines. In the top view, you have a center line running through the middle and some other center lines at right angles, and same in the front view, you'll have center lines. So I'm going to start with that. And I think what I will do is I'll start with the top view. I might have to bounce back and forth between the top and front, but that's okay. So I will start with the top view and just draw two big old center lines. I don't know how long they will be. That's okay. And these will be construction lines for now, but I'm just going to use the object layer. I don't really care what layer I draw my construction lines on. And I think I will turn on this ortho so that my lines are sure to be straight. So I'll draw a big old long center line across here, and I'll draw a big old long center line up and down. Okay. Now I think I will turn ortho back off. Notice when you hover over ortho, that thing in the parentheses says F8. That is your clue that if you just hit the F8 button on your keyboard, which I'm doing now, it turns ortho off or on. I like to do that as I'm drawing. F8, F8. Yay! Okay, now what? Let me figure out where to put this first bunch of circles. So this says this is 3.8 on each side of that vertical center line. I am going to get the offset command. Offset, and it says specify offset distance. Okay, 3.8, enter. And I will offset. I'll click that line and offset to the right, click that line and offset to the left. Great. One other thing I will start to do is figure out where this flat stuff is going to go in my top view. And notice that it says it's 3.2 on each side of the horizontal center line. So I will get the offset command again. Specify offset distance. I will enter 3.2, enter. And I'll click my big old long center line, offset up, and offset down. Okay, so what? That doesn't look anything like my part, but that's okay. Now I can begin to put in my circle stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do, oh no, wait, I need to do one more thing before I get crazy. I'm going to put in the width of this ear here. Now this is a little bit trickier. This ear has a radius of 1.5. That means that we will offset 1.5 to the left and 1.5 to the right of our vertical center line. I'll type O for offset. Specify offset distance 1.5, and now I will offset 1.5 left, click on the line, 1.5 right. Okay, that's where my ear will be. Why don't I make this a little bit easier for myself and lay in the thickness of the ear so I can kind of get a sense of where I am. So that ear is 1.2 thick. Okay. Offset, O for offset, distance is 1.2. Enter, and I will now offset up from the bottom and down from the top. And now I'm going to trim a little bit because I'm getting confused. So I'm going to get the trim command, or TR for trim. And I could select all by hitting enter. I think I'm going to try and keep things clean by just clicking as my cutters the lines that I know for sure I'm interested in. So those are the cutter lines. Now enter. Now I've got my cutters highlighted. And now select object to trim. I'm going to use the right crossing window. Click and then move from right to left and click again to select lines fast. Click on the right, move to the left and click again. Right crossing window to select these lines easily. And now I'll just single click to get these lines cleaned up. Alrighty, there are my ears. Now I'm going to put in this nose at the end, and it is a radius of 1.5, and that radius is located on the intersection of these two center lines. So, C for circle, I will click right over here on this intersection. Watch your O snaps, make sure you do have the intersection there. Click, and now make sure that you know whether you're talking about radius or diameter. This says specify radius, and so I previously typed 1.5, but I will type it again just to be something. Radius 1.5, there's the circle. Now I need a line that goes from the outside of my ear to my thingy. Oh, I'll just go ahead and do a circle over here. Now there's a center point. I don't want that. I want the intersection. The intersection is not coming up. So what do? Here's a nice shortcut. If you hold Shift right mouse button, so I'm in the middle of a command, I hold Shift right mouse button, a temporary O-snap menu comes up where you can select one time only the point that you want. I want intersection. There it is. Specify radius. I already had 1.5 in there, so I'll just hit enter. Okay, now I'm going to make my slopey lines. So L for line. I will start at one end point, and I will come down here. Now I want this to be tangent to this circle, and if I'm lucky, that tangent O-snap will show up. There's the tangent. Enter. I'll hit enter again to bring up my previous command so I can draw another line. And there's my tangent O-snap, but if it doesn't come up, which sometimes happens when you're looking for a tangent, you can go, once again, Shift right mouse to bring up your temporary O-snap menu and select tangent. There we go. Okay. Tangent. Tangent. And now I can trim. I will go trim, and these slopey lines are going to be my cutters this time. Enter and trim out that circle. Oh, look at that. Things are shaping up. Now I'm going to draw these holes in each end of the nose. C for circle. And again, watch out for what point you're on. You don't want some random thing. You want the intersection. Make sure that shows up. Now, if I just happily go, oh, look, there's my 1.5, that's what I want, and I just hit enter, I will have a problem. That's twice as big as it should be, because intersection, This says specify radius of circle, and I want diameter of circle. So I will type D for diameter, or click the D word. And now specify diameter 1.5. There, that's the right size. Hit enter to bring up the last command. Shift right mouse to bring up my temporary menu. Select intersection. Specify radius of circle. Look, the one that I entered for the previous hole is already stored in memory, so I'll just hit enter. There, looky there. Now, I might go to the front view and start doing stuff. Let's see, first of all, the thickness of my flat plate there is 1.25. So let me turn on my ortho. I'm going to hit the F8 key. F8. I'll get a line, just some line. I'll draw it over there. Okay, now F8, I will turn ortho off again. And I will offset, O for offset. My offset distance is 1.25, according to the drawing. And there's my plate. Now what about the location of this hole in the ear? That is 3.5 up from the bottom. So let me do that while I'm here. Offset was the last command I was using, so I'll just hit enter to bring it up again. Specify offset distance. I'll type 3.5. And I'll go from this bottom line up. Okay, there's the center of my hole. Now, I will draw a line. This is just a construction line for now. From this center line down to the bottom, I don't want a center point. I want a perpendicular. And if I can't get perpendicular to show up, there it is showing up. But if I was having trouble, I would go Shift, right mouse, perpendicular. Okay, that's where my center line for my ear will be. And now I will put this radius on there. This ear has a radius of 1.5. So I'll get a C for circle. Specify center point. No, not the midpoint. Shift right mouse. I want the intersection. Specify radius. I want a radius of 1.5. There's my circle. And look how that lines up with the ear. Now I can draw a line from the quadrant point, or the intersection, down until it's perpendicular to the bottom. And I'll do another one. Looking good. I think I'll trim that circle out of there before I get confused. So those are my two cutters. And there's my circle. Now, how about this? I will draw a line from the nose in the top view down to the front view. And I will draw another line so I know where the center line is going to be. And now I can do some trimming. TR for trim, or the scissors. I'm going to use a right crossing window. It says select cutting edges. So I'm going to use a right crossing window to select the things I want to use as cutters. Enter. And now I'll use it says select object to trim. Now I'll use a right crossing window to select these lines that I want to trim. And then I'll just plain old click to select that line. Now we're getting somewhere. And now I think I will trim. I'm going to select the sides of the ear, and I'll select this line and trim it out of there. I might decide to get a hidden line and draw a line in here.